We're going to talk about this week's video is going to be about Xcel parts. What when you go out and put your own parts on the car, what it means to Doug to make a living, what it means for Doug's decision process of why he picks these parts for these cars. And I'm gonna turn it over to him, and we're going to talk about some of the components and just inform basically why some of the decisions that were made are the decisions that are made.
A couple things real quick, like our rear axles. Our rear axles, you can get a rear axle from RTS, from Hyper, from P&P. There's 100 different companies out there that you can get a rear axle made from. Is it an Xcel axle? No, it's not an Xcel axle. There is differences.
What's the difference?
The main difference is, for one, you have to remember our cars are about 100 pounds heavier than a micro sprint. We hook up 50% harder on the right rear than what a micro sprint does. I get my rear axles made over 100 thousandths thicker. So that being said, when you go out there and you break a rear axle, if it's not one of my axles, this could be a reason why you're breaking rear axles. My axles are made for my car. This is just all the thought process that I have to go through when I build a car, just like, and it's just so much more than that. Like, our wishbones. Our wishbones, if you look at our wishbones, they're shorter than a normal micro sprint. The reason why that is, it hooks a car up harder. With my heights, how I have the motor location, the height of the motor, everything like that, everything that I do is to get forward drive out of the car. We hook up hard compared to a micro sprint. Think about it. We run half the tire, and we run a bone stock motor on pump gas, and we run regular shocks on all four corners. And at Linda's, the guy who wins our feature could normally win the 600 wingless micro feature. So explain that to me, how that is even possible. Don't make me the bad guy because I did my homework when I designed the car. I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but I'm just saying this is why the car is going to work a lot better when you use stock OEM Xcel parts. In the past, we've been having some front hub problems with front hubs. Well, we solved that problem. Once again, we roll on the right front pretty hard. We run at big tracks.
About this.
Yep, we run at big tracks like at Grandview, Big Diamond, down at Bridgeport on the big track. I mean, these are fast, stupid fast tracks. And when you go into the corner, you're loading that right front a ton. So that being said, what happens when you run a normal front hub bearing, the normal front hub, right front hub, gets hot. Gets hot because you're using just grease in it.
Okay.
They might say no, but it does. It gets hot when you get a bearing hot.
What happens when it gets hot?
When it gets hot, it expands, and the right front hub, the bearings tighten up a little bit. As soon as they start tightening up a little bit, you always get a little bit of a push going into the corner because the right front isn't free. It's kind of holding up, almost like you have a right front brake on the car. When you put a right front brake on the car going into a corner, you're going to push.
So you could pretty much put this on any car now, right?
Yes.
You don't have to have a special spindle?
No,
Okay.
It'll fit with any spindle.
And what are you running inside it?
It's an oil filled, no
Okay.
more grease. No more grease anymore. It's all oil filled.
Okay. And it just straight up lubes, keeps things cleaner, keeps them
Yep.
a little
Yep. And it
little smoother and a little cooler.
Yep, exactly. I mean, I just run regular motor oil in it. That's what I run. I mean, I'm sure if you really want to go nuts, you can get like a full synthetic, zero weight oil and blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
right.
I just run whatever I run in the motor, I dump in the front hubs.
So let me run out and summarize something for those who don't know. Yes, you could go out and do your own thing. You could build your own stuff. You could manufacture Doug's car. We don't want that. We don't want that because there's a cost savings if we all stay in. And this man has to make a living. So I'm going to come in on his side on that one. And
it still comes down to it's a cost-effective deal.
I know you've been very reasonable with me in my 10 years that I've been involved in this, and I appreciate it.
I'm doing all the homework for you. You guys don't have to think about how to make your race car go faster. whenever I come out with a new idea, it's to go faster. I mean, I don't build shit to go slow.
But it's also reasonable savings.
exactly,
The idea that you
exactly.
change the RPM in the Suzuki's a little bit to cool them down.
To a point. I mean, it's
You
been
know.
so, I mean, and even like with the Yamahas, you know, the Yamahas, we took, 1,500 RPMs out of a Yamaha to make it more even for a Suzuki. We changed the exhaust on the Yamaha to make it more even for a Suzuki.
Right.
I think we're really, really close right now. And, with how the motor situation is going right now, look at the micro sprints. I mean, I know guys right now, if you put a smoking good micro sprint motor together right now, you're looking at $30,000. It's $20,000 for the motor and $10,000 for the fuel system. That to run for the same $350 that we run for, it makes 0 cents.
Yeah.
Makes 0 cents. And we run for more of a championship money. We run for more of this. We run for more of that. I mean, yes, you have to buy your stuff from me. Yes. But my stuff is probably cheaper anyway.
Yep. I agree.
Cost wise. I mean, not quality wise. I mean, my quality, I'll put my quality up against anybody's out there. Absolutely. I mean, I know what all my bird cages are made out of, what grade aluminum. I know what my front axles are made out of. I know everything about this whole car, what it's made out of. And it's not like I'm skimping. I mean, I'm a racer myself. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I wouldn't do it for myself, so why would I do it for customers?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you clearing some of that up. It's good to know. It's, one of the things that comes through on the website, I get all the little questions asked, and people ask, can I do this? Can I do that? And I said, well, somebody has done this in the past and it's been received this way or that way, but you really need to call Doug if you have specific questions. But it's good to hear it from you.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to come in on your side and say that you're trying to make a living doing all this. You're being reasonable about it, and we're looking for a spec class. So
yeah,
good.
And the big thing too that the biggest misconception out there that I hear rumblings of it. Put it that way. There's no inner circle in my little world here. There's no inner circle. If you have a question, ask me. It really is that simple.
Your phone number is the first thing on the website. Just go to the front page.
I mean, if there's any inner circle, it's people that call me up on a regular basis and ask me advice. I said, it really is that simple. If you want to go faster, give me a call. I'll steer you in a direction. You got to listen. If you're not willing to listen, if you have your own scenarios for setups and for everything like that, stick with your own scenarios. But then, when my setups are kicking your ass on a weekly basis, don't make me be the bad guy. I tell you exactly what I'm running in my personal cars.
Yeah.
The guys that are winning, 9 times out of 10 have my variation in it.
There is a setup guide on the website too. If you're not sure what he's talking about, go there, look at the FAQ section. There's a clear section that tells you where to set your car up, what the benchmark is, and then advice on how to tweak. If it's doing this, do that, those kind of things.
Exactly.
So,
and the biggest thing is, like, everybody has a buddy that's in big modifieds. This isn't a big modified. It's that simple. I mean, you have to remember, we don't have shocks to play with. Our shocks aren't $1,500 a corner.
yeah.
They're $100 shocks. So you have to play with the parts that you have to play with. It's that simple. So yeah, you might have to go with different spring combinations to make the shocks do different things. That's why we go down the paths that we go for setups. It might seem unorthodox, but sometimes that's what you have to do to make stuff go.
All right, let me bring it to a close. You could spend more money in another series, but you won't go any faster for it. Thanks again, Doug.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.